Hello guys, welcome to Doctor and the Master 892 here, and today we are on episode 7, I believe. Jesus Christ. It's blown away. Flew away, I don't know. But anyways, I am here with two familiar faces from last week. Introduce yourself, guys.
If you've been here since the start, you should know who I am. It's Corey.
Yep. And hello, I was here last week, back again this week. This is Elliott from YouTube channel The Weekly Rant.
Do you think this episode deserves a rant, or do you think nah?
I don't have much to rant about this episode. No.
Oh, okay.
Nor do I.
Oh, Matthew is watching, but not meant to be. Oh, he wants to be, but he's busy. But also, there's going to be another guest if he can make it later on in the episode review. But let's discuss. Oh, and hi, Daniel. Hi, team. Hello. We are like the dream team. Well, like if we had a fourth person when we have the amount of people like the Doctor Who Team TARDIS. Kind of cringy name. But yeah, guys, starting with Corey, your first opinion of it all, like when watching it, everything, what could you say about it, except for the main points afterwards?
Yeah, so my first impression is I like that one. I enjoyed that one. So yeah, my main feelings, I enjoyed that one. I'd say quite a bit better than a few of the episodes this season. Really enjoyable. A few twists in there, a few things some people might not have seen, and they might have seen if they were sharp on the ball. But overall, to keep it nice and brief, I really enjoyed it. Definitely really enjoyed it.
And Elliott, what's your opinions?
First opinions, I was very focused on this episode, which was really nice. It kept me eyes glued to the TV. It was kind of, it was a slow build, but it felt fast paced at the same time, which was really nice. So it kept me nice and hooked. Very fun episode, I think this was.
And for me, well, I just want to say, I personally enjoyed it. Last week was really enjoyable as well, and obviously it's kind of went up and down this series. Obviously there are points, like every single episode has their problems, but obviously at the very end we will go with two different type of ratings, one for excitement level and one for the episode story, professional way, but I quite enjoyed it. All the characters, all of them, all the 4 Team TARDIS, I'm gonna say I'm very happy with all of them. And my laptop is about to die, so give me a minute. Our first topic is about story. So Corey, tell me about your story, and I will just find my charger.
So the story in general, I thought was a pretty good, simple story. Simple story. I quite enjoyed it. So obviously the Doctor, he sent a message asking for help, and they arrive at Kerblam, which is basically a massive warehouse, mostly manned by robots. 10% of the workforce is humans. They go there to investigate, and once they're there, they find out there's some disappearances, and they go throughout the story trying to figure out what's going off, why people are disappearing, and they find out that something's wrong with the robots or the system, and then obviously at the end, the story's resolved. They find out the reason for people disappearing or dying, and had a pretty interesting resolution. So I think for me, as Elliott said, the story was engaging, definitely all the way through. Definitely engaging all the way through. Kept me a bit gripped. Really enjoyed it. Not really. I can't really pick many faults on the story. Maybe for the ending of what the Doctor did. If you want me to mention that now, I can do. If you want to mention it later on, it's up to you. And what do you think, George?
He's back for his plug.
I just found it. I think I should have done that before the stream, but it was 14% about that's all it was about to die. I was like, holy crap, I need to find it, but it's downstairs. Corey, what were you saying? Because
I would Yeah, so I was mentioning, the ending with what the Doctor did. Shall we mention it now, or shall we mention it later?
Should we talk about
with the
like
guy?
the characters or?
No, I mean, so obviously, obviously what happened to what the Doctor did at the end that happened to the guy. Shall we mention it now or later?
I think
You
we
know what I
can
mean?
mention it now. I think we could. Yeah.
Fair enough. Then, so
Oh yeah.
obviously,
By the way, I think I keep forgetting this. Ever since I started with Series 9 reviews on live, spoilers. I think you're already in it anyway. I think you guys watched it, but spoilers if you haven't seen it. Yeah, just we can say whatever we want about this episode now.
Cool.
Fair enough. So if you give me free reign, so yeah, at the very end, the Doctor decides to blow up all the robots, and sort of gives the guy a chance to escape, but then just left and let him to die. So, not too sure if there was any need to blow up the robots, because it was the guy who was controlling them, and she stopped them from teleporting to Earth, and obviously which stopped people from dying. So, not too sure if she needed to blow them up and let the guy die. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm kind of in the thought that definitely the robots blown up was needed to happen. I think that was fine because it was the only way of getting rid of the explosives was to just was to blow it all up.
That's a fair point. Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen her save the guy. And it's something I wrote down.
I know we're going to talk about his characters, but he was very likable at the beginning, and then at the very end, he was kind of like when he was looking back on when the Doctor was ordering, like he should know, and he kind of felt like he was a bit of an idiot. Like that's all.
We'll get to that because I've written down stuff about Charlie as a character and the Doctor as a character as well, because it's something I think I mentioned last week that I'm rewatching all the New Era episodes, and so I'm sort of starting to see a pattern now with the Doctor as a character that is starting to annoy me slightly. So, but I'll talk about that when we get to characters.
Well, for my the story itself, obviously people could say the Fez was all fan service, but I think would you call that a plot device? Get them to what's it called? Kerblam. It's what Graham says. Just are you talking nonsense right now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that Fez was needed. It was an opportunity to have fan service in there, but also get them into the story. So I think that was needed. And at the very end, you see that box. So I won't really call that too fan service.
It could have been anything. That present could have been anything, because it could have been any present with the message anyway. So the fact that put the Fez in there was a nice little touch.
I just thought it was very opportune. I think it was very opportunity. And then
so it could be any present. So it's a nice
talk about like eats there. Basically, when we talked about robots, was saying best friends. Was anyone else thinking K9? Because I was thinking of it and I wanted to talk about it. But yeah, if the story goes on, it was very the robots did show a very creepy vibe. Like when what was the girl's name who only had one present ever? Kira. She was very no, I can't say that. Can't say that onto the characters. But when they were talking, I had that vibe of the robots listening, because you keep going to that shot. So when you were talking about lighting and also the camera, it just gives you that vibe that something's wrong. And they showed all these characters at the very beginning and structured it very well. I think it was just at the very end with Charlie, I kind of just wasn't okay with that bit, but it was very exciting. Yeah, and the locations, and I actually did feel like it was on an alien planet. Did anyone else felt that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, with latest episodes, you could tell it was like a set. With episode 5, we can all tell. Did everyone feel like that episode was a set and not an actual spaceship? I mean, it was okay. Realistically, nothing is a real spaceship. So, but yeah, with that episode, the characters did good. Yeah, that's what anyone else want to add to the story, and because yeah. And if you guys want to say anything in the comments below, you think about the episode, tell us, and we will read your comments if it's about their episode. Okay, I think we should talk about characters. I'm actually excited to talk about this one. So Corey, you go first, and hopefully you won't say as much as what I will be saying.
Yeah, so we'll leave Teddy's team to the side because I think I know what you're going to say, George. So obviously we had a few side characters, and I think you'd agree that there was all enjoyable, and we all got a feeling of the characters, and we all felt for them. So we all Dan, we had Kira, we had Charlie. So even though Dan didn't last very long, you got to know him quite well, and it was a bit sad to when he got taken away. And then Kira again, you got to get to know her really well. Quite sad she got killed. And then Charlie was a big twist. Yeah, so you sort of saw his character, his little like romance with Kira, and then the twist at the end that he was obviously the bad guy was kind of shocking, bit unexpected. So I think the side characters today were really good, and like you said with the robots, I know we'll move on to villains, but they were really creepy. They was really creepy. TARDIS team, the TARDIS, the TARDIS team, they are I think they're definitely for me are feeling like a team. They obviously have felt like a team all the way as they have been growing, but they did feel like a team today. Definitely got a bit more Yasmin, even though it wasn't around her like last week's was. Got a bit more of Yasmin. Got a bit more of Ryan. Again, a bit more of Graham. They all had a bit of part to play, not a massive role in it. The Doctor for me was all right, still getting bits more of a character. But yeah, I think that's all I can say really. If my main focus really would be the side characters for this episode. Yeah.
I mean, I think the side characters I will talk about later. Actually, some episodes are very interesting. I quite like about the side characters. But Elliott, it's your turn.
Yeah, I think I agree with Corey. This definitely was an episode more for the side characters than it was for Team TARDIS. Team TARDIS, they definitely, worked in this episode, and I agree again with Corey that they are a very nice, slick team now. It's the most I've probably enjoyed Ryan for a few episodes as well. I quite like what he was doing. He brought a lot of nice humor touches to the episode. So that was really enjoyable to see. I think in terms of the new characters, I really liked the receptionist. Is it Judy or Julie? I thought
of course.
Yeah, it was Judy. And I actually remember one side character's name. So
there you go. She must have been good then if you've remembered it.
Yes.
I thought she handled it really well, and it was quite nice because it was hard to tell if she was part of the conspiracy or not at the beginning. And I was glad that she wasn't, because I think it would have been too obvious if she would have been. So that was a really nice touch. Kira, the girl, I think she was sweet, but I can't really say much more for her than that.
She was very likable.
She was likable, she was, and she was a nice way in for Team TARDIS, which was really nice. I really liked Dan, who was played by Lee Mack, the warehouse guy.
Oh, that is a brilliant actress.
Actress. I thought he was, and I was annoyed that he was the first to go, because he was the character that I like, the new character that I like the most so far in this episode. So it was a shame for him to go so quickly, though I kind of understand it, because he was in the right setting for it, and it meant that the plot moved forward, which was really nice. As for Charlie, our villain, it was a bit too much of a twist out of nowhere for me. It made sense as to why he was doing it. It made sense.
It felt kind of random when watching it.
It was quite random.
It did feel random. Yeah.
I started really liking the character, and that came as like, okay, everything he got as a character went outside the.
Well, and this is it, and I think I know as to why, because there wasn't. Look, you don't want to give it away near the beginning of the episode or halfway through the episode that he's the villain, and it's really kind of how do you then handle that?
I think they should put hints. That's what.
Well, definitely, and they did have. They did have the hint when you know, he tried to call out to Kira to stop her from popping the bubble wrap. And I feel we just needed 2 more hints like that earlier on in the episode. And then I would have accepted that he turns around to be the villain. It's not that I didn't accept it. You know, there needs to be a villain, and it made sense. His reasoning made sense. It just, I didn't want to, you know, I never want to guess the mystery, but I want there to be a few more hints towards it before we get there.
For me, with Team TARDIS, let's start with the Doctor. From last week, I really started to really like her character. Yes, she has those moments like mad, but they're not annoying. Could you guys agree with that? She was not upbeat, jumpy, and there were moments when she was like, the Collab Man, you know that moment. But she there are type of scenes like episode 3 when she was talking to what's that man who's trying. Oh, Adam's read it. I'll give him the link after I talk about my point. She has those moments. I feel like last week in this one, she stayed consistent. I really like her in this episode. Ryan, maybe Ryan's the weakest, but have fun with him when he's like, you could tell he doesn't want to be at work. But there were points where like, yes, we know, like, you know, it was quite boring when he was like saying that type of stuff. But yeah, with Yaz, she was quite I was about to say likable, but she was all right. Getting better. I think when the whole series, when I'm talking about overview, she will be the weakest in the whole Team TARDIS. We all agree with that?
No, for me, Ryan's still the weakest, but I liked her more in this episode.
With Graham, who's calling me? Adam, don't call me when I'm doing my review. You be on it in a bit. What was I talking about? Something about Graham. Oh yeah, Graham. I felt like he had more to do in this episode. Well, finding that map. You know, at the very beginning, like he was like, it felt comedic, like he's getting the worst job out of him. Yeah. But he went very useful out of him.
Yeah, he was, very useful.
And people have been saying that he's like, people's like, oh, he's not having too much to do. Like episode 2, he didn't. But I feel like he's finally shined. I think I liked him from episode 1 onwards. With the side characters, they're really getting it right. With I'm not going to say too much episode 1. Episode 2, Corey, you know I really like the side characters. That was one strong point of it, except for the TARDIS. Episode 3, they had very side characters. Would you call Rosa a side character?
I mean, in compared to Team TARDIS, yeah, but I would call her actually just the titular character. I mean, she was, you know, the episode after her. So I wouldn't say. I think for the single episode, she's not a side character. For the grand series, yes, but I would have said she was a main character for her episode.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And with episode 4, they had brilliant side characters as well. 5 was the worst. 6 was good. I think the side characters sometimes be better than the Team TARDIS, or very enjoyable to watch, and you would like to see them return. But these ones, maybe cameos, but like I don't really want them to return. I think they're good one-off characters. But I actually felt sad when who's the guy who was in Not Going Out?
Playback.
Him. Basically, I thought they gave tension with the robots in that, and I had a laugh with him. He was very like, even when the robots were like telling him not to, he was like trying to keep conversation. So it was quite enjoyable to watch that. But everything else was good. You know, the woman Judy, she was on Corey. I actually didn't recognize it was her. Did anyone else?
Yeah. It took me a while to think. I was like, I knew I recognized her, but it took me a while to think as to where. So
even in the photo, I didn't recognize her. Maybe her hair is different, or she hasn't been in the show for like 2013. So that's been a long time ago. So seeing her performance in a different, when she was in the room, what's it called? When she was like, "What are you doing?" I actually thought they would get in trouble, but like the
Yeah.
doctor, like gets herself out of it, and that Jodie, I'm liking Jodie, and it's since day one. But I think I'm rambling on with too much of the characters. I think this one, I did a really good job on the characters. I think the best of the characters might be 4. I think I'm not gonna say episode 3 because I'm not sure if Rose is a side character, but I think episode 4 had really good characters.
Yeah.
But let's move on to villains. I'm gonna send a link to Adam because I've been ignoring his
Let's get him in.
Let's get him on. Get him into a new. Okay. But anything else you want to add before I send Adam the link?
Not in terms of characters. I don't know. Did you guys also notice there was actually a second reference to?
Sorry.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, the Wasps and Agatha Christie.
Yes.
The Wasp. Yeah.
Before we carry on saying that, I've totally forgot one character. Is Cara
the manager guy? The manager guy, isn't it?
Oh, I don't really want to talk about that guy. He has not much character to him, except for that beginning scene about the managing. That was very useful, and I can tell people can relate to that. But was her name Cara?
Kira.
I think she was. 1 minute, Adam. We'll get to your point in a sec. We introduce you in a sec, just to get me on to my point. With Kira, I think she was likable just to get people to care when she dies. But she.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I thought they wouldn't have killed her. But
yeah, I thought it was quite a shock that they did kill her off. But
same, yeah.
I mean, as I said earlier, I wasn't into her character as much as some of the other side characters, so it didn't bother me too much.
But also with us is John. Obviously you all know his other name, but he's changed his name. The mystery John Thomas Allen. Introduce yourself.
Hello.
Obviously we just talked about our first opinion and characters. Just talk about your opinion of your first opinion on it and the characters briefly. Well, not too briefly, just make it.
All right. Okay. I really like this episode. I was very confused about last week's, so I was a little bit hesitant to think that this would stay with me on that confusion. But instead, it kind of gave me a really fun little episode that I could enjoy. And I missed out on a couple of parts in it, so I'll have to watch it again. I'll probably watch it again after this is finished. But it was really different as well because we kind of hadn't really had a episode set in like kind of the work. Well, actually, we had with Partners in Crime, but I'd say this is more the sort of delivery sort of area. So we really haven't been in like the warehouse sort of. Actually, no, we haven't. Actually, thinking about it, when I was thinking of saying this isn't a brand new episode, it really isn't actually, because it's mostly Planet of the Ood because of that kind of slavery bit. And I'm not saying like everybody in here was slaves.
Oh, yeah, that one shot where they, in the Impossible Planet where they show the ooze, like they look like an army, and then you see
this one obviously felt like an Ood episode, but because Chris says they didn't want to return the monsters, I'm betting it probably ended up being kind of like something different to replace them. And obviously with the writer, I can't remember his name, being a massive Doctor Who fan, he probably wanted this one to be an Ood episode, like Planet of the Ood or something like that, and couldn't use them, or basically Chris devised them to kind of change the monsters from the Ood, not to reuse them. Plus, there were also a Russell T Davies creation, so that would kind of give Russell a little bit of a chance to say that maybe he would have actually said, "Oh wait, we already did this about 10 years ago," because that episode actually did come out 10 years ago. So it's pretty weird that we're having like a 10th anniversary of an episode by having a sort of episode which is similar with it. What else? The villain was a bit weak. I'll agree with that. The villain was a bit weak.
We'll talk about villain next. That's the next topic.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to sort of give my brief thoughts. Characters. I liked Lee Mack's character for however long he was on for. Actually, I wanted him to kind of, I think he would have appreciated more like a bit of bigger running time because I felt like he was one of those characters who I'd felt like was advertised to be in for longer and then kind of wasn't, so he kind of was a bit of a throwaway role. And not gonna lie, I think I really did miss him, even though to be honest, I think I might be honest, this might be like the first thing I've ever actually heard or seen Lee Mack in, because I'm not really I don't really watch TV that often, and when I do, I don't really.
I'm starting to watch all these shows, but I'll just watch on BBC iPlayer, not on when it's live.
Yeah. Like, but I don't do that at all. I watch mostly American shows, so I miss most of these shows out. So, but I really do. I did miss Lee Mack and that romance.
Lee Mack, yeah, I seen him in Not Going Out when I was like,
I think I heard that was out, and I never watched it. Those other two characters, that boss woman, I can't remember her name now. She was all right. When I saw the, I think they were the leaked photos, because I think she was one. The photo of her with the clipboard. I think that was one of the leaked photos that got sent out in July or something like that. I can't remember. It was because I remember there was a lot of leaked photos from episode 2, 5, and this episode, and I was thinking she would probably be the villain. And then when I was watching the episode, I was thinking that guy Slade would be the villain. And then obviously we had that villain, but I thought she was alright. Yeah, I did like that little line. I've been liking a lot of little lines this series, where basically they kind of like have those little throwaway lines which you don't think would be funny, but to me they are funny. And that organics line was a bit funny because it's just you'd expect that of somebody like that in the workplace. So yeah, that's my fault. So I'm sorry for going on a bit too long.
Yeah, sorry, Brian. You just obviously we rambled on for a long time, so it's understandable. But I just thought let you know that we'll go through Corey, Elliott, you, and then me in our opinions of it, and also in we're going to change rating for our proper rating at the very end. One of it is for rate out of 10, like excitement of the episode, how you felt, and one of it is like the story, how. You know what I mean, right? But anyways, we should talk about villains. I think that Corey, just explain what you think about the villains.
So the villains for the majority of the episode look like to be the robots, and then maybe the actual system itself. Now, I think most will agree the robots give us sort of like the host, or maybe like the robots from the Robots of Death sort of feel. It's understandable, they are robots themselves. But yeah, like you said about the Ood, maybe sort of an Ood sort of feel to these villains. Now, before the episode today, I was sort of hoping or thinking there might be sort of like an outbreak, so where the actual robots do actually go around killing people. Hell breaks loose, and that didn't quite happen today. That was a bit of a twist. But yeah, I was expecting the robots to full out go and literally kill people, like the host did, or the Ood did, or the Robots of Death did, but they did it quite discreetly. But obviously at the end, the main villain did actually turn out to be Charlie, who was actually taking over the system and using it to his own advantage to try and get back at the people who aren't actually working. So again, an interesting twist to find out the villains aren't actually the villains, they're actually being controlled by another villain. And obviously, like we said before, Charlie was a bit unexpected. We said it was a bit of a big twist, too much of a twist, because you were saying you started to like Charlie, and then to find out actually this is him was a bit shocking. So yeah, for me, the robots were creepy, were quite chilling. I did expect, or was hoping they might go out on their own and start killing people, but it was an interesting twist, definitely on my end.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I really like that because I was making notes as I was watching, and I noted down that it had a kind of an iRobot feel to it, which kind of goes along with what you're saying, Corey, about the robots going out and sort of taking that control. So it was nice that there was that twist at the end, that it wasn't actually the system, it wasn't another Vicky from iRobot going out and taking back control. So it was really nice to see that it was being controlled by someone inside of the operation, but that it not being from the top. That for once we're getting someone at the bottom that's trying to fight back. And everyone's going crazy about episodes like Rosa and about a few of the episodes in Peter Capaldi, how they're going, all political and this, and people are going off about this SJW crap, and it's like, well, no, because Doctor Who's always done that. Doctor Who has always been political on some way or another. If it's an alien race against another alien race, it's never different there. It's just that nowadays it's dealing more closely with humans and with stuff that is more apparent for us, and I think that definitely happened here. And especially in London where I live, everything is becoming automated. The tube, there are less people in the ticket halls to sell your tickets. You've got to get it on a machine. You probably see it in supermarkets where you guys are living as well, with all the self-service checkouts as well. So it's interesting that it's something that is happening in real life, but what Doctor Who have done is they've put it on a bigger scale and they've put the fight back in as well. Now, I'm not saying that we're all going to turn around and rig bubble wrap to explode in people's faces, but it's interesting to see how it is taking something from real life and amplifying it. And it's really nice to see that it's not, for once, something coming from the top as it has been in old episodes of Doctor Who, like with Planet of the Ood, when it was coming from the top down. In this one, it was someone at the bottom, which was a nice little twist on the villain this week, and I really enjoyed that, even though, as I said earlier, I wish that it had kind of been hinted at a bit more.
Before we get on to Adam, I agree with that, with technology and all that. I don't think I have to say too much on my villains, but yeah, I agree with that. John, getting used to that. Explain your thoughts.
Honestly, in the last couple of minutes, I've also been thinking that the ending was a lot like kind of like along the lines of what the Terminator films were doing, like how those were kind of humans against kind of machines, and how they didn't really want machines to kind of like, especially in the first 3, I believe. I'm not sure about Genesis. I have seen Genesis. I just need to re-see that one to see if the message is still in there. But in the first 3 Terminator films, I remember the message was, they didn't want these machines to like changing the world too much, and I believe that's sort of what was trying to be processed in there. But I do feel like it, because it was in the Terminator films, it had been done before, and it really just like the robots kind of felt like Ood replacements. I really felt like maybe this would have been a really good Ood episode, but unfortunately, yeah, just the robot aspect, and the message has been done to death. And saying that it was Charlie was kind of like a little bit weak, to say the least, like, because yes, it's supposed to be a twist, but it does feel a little bit out of left field. It kind of feels like, oh, the guy in maintenance. Why wouldn't it be one of the people who I don't know, maybe one of the people who are actually building the the objects would be the guy who'd build something in it, and it just, to me, that just really felt a little bit more like they wanted to change it just because they felt like they didn't want the obvious choice. But I do feel like maybe we should have either had a little bit of backstory in the scene with Graham, saying like oh, I hate these, with Charlie probably saying like, oh, I hate the robots. Actually, they're not really that good, and I believe it was something or other, but it did feel a little bit out of left field, and it did feel like his motivations was really set up in the last 5 minutes.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
I think all of you, when you have loads of people on this call, there's not much you could say when you're last. So I'm just going to go very simply. You all went with examples with real life or films, and for me, I got to do something simple, talking about the villain itself. Very briefly, when I talked about characters with Charlie, right? Would you all, I think we can call him a villain, but maybe not like a real villain, but maybe not very understood, but pointless. The villain, quite weak, but like it does have a creepy feel with the lighting or the camera work and the design of the robots. With definitely the camera work with the shots like very close up to the eyes, or when people leave, they wake up. Obviously, it's very cliche because that happens quite a lot. Again, it is weak if you compare it to all the others. Obviously, there have been weak villains recently, but like it's okay. The spiders were good. This one was good. It's okay. I don't. There's not much I could say. The man who talked about the managing thing and being a real boss. One called him a villain. If people saying their own reviews saying he's a villain, no, there were feels when watching it that he could have been, but he wasn't. But I think if they wanted Charlie to be a villain or make him better, they should have put hints of what his plan was or when he slipped up. But he was just so nice, and so it was just kind of random, like out of nowhere. So I was not happy with the bubble wrap. I didn't know, like, okay, and I had that close up with her hand near the bubble. But you knew something was up. I actually didn't think she'd be dead. So we could all say they're taking more risk of killing side characters off than Moffat's era. But I don't think they kill any of Teen Titans until, I don't know, 12, 13, if there is another series. But again, I can't say too much. So I think we should, but yeah, weak, not average. I'm going to say average villain. If you compare it to episode 1, maybe no. I say episode 1 was better. 2, definitely. 3, if they didn't screw up at the very end, then no. 4, I like the spiders more. What came? Oh no, don't get me on song. The 5, 6. Was there really a villain except for like the brother and fruit? So I'm not gonna say there's not many been great villains recently. So I think we should move on to the next topic. Here's something that you don't really get too much on reviews. Is the anything behind the scenes. So I think some people might be very brief on this. I must probably go back onto BBC One, BBC Player, to see the shots. It's all about camera work or the lighting or that type of stuff, because you know those people do deserve a credit, not just about the story. So starting with Corey, Elliott, John, and then me.
Yeah, so as we know through this series, visually, the series has been really, really good. The graphics have been up this series. Now, this episode, the graphics wasn't bad. They didn't really need to be very much good because obviously it was set in a warehouse, and there's not really much you can do to make a warehouse look spectacular. It's just a warehouse. So even though the graphics wasn't as good as other episodes, it's not bad because there's no reason for the graphics to be even any better at all. Obviously, we said before, it really felt like an actual alien planet. Yeah, we sort of got that vibe. It was a planet or a moon. Definitely felt like it was a big set. It wasn't like just the same corridors used over and over again. The set itself, you could really feel how big it was. Some really good shots. I think a shot we probably mentioned before was the ones of the robots at the end. How when they was all revealed as an army, looked like the Yud. When they were revealed to be possessed, that was a good shot showing how big the army was. One of my favourite shots, actually. It actually reminds me of Toy Story. If anybody knows what I'm on about, is when the Yaz and Ryan and Charlie was going down the conveyor belt. And if you know, I think it's Toy Story 1, when all the toys are trying to get onto the plane and they're going onto the
It's Toy
conveyor
Story
belt.
2. Sorry to interrupt.
Whichever one it is, I know it's one of those. Yeah, I got that feel of them falling down the conveyor belt. That sort of reminded me of Toy Story, whichever one it was. Thanks for the correction. So, yeah, to put it brief, yeah, so not as visually amazing, but it didn't need to be. The sets, it felt like a big set, not just one small set. You really, you could really tell how big the place was, and a few good shots here and there with that little Toy Story feel that I just mentioned. That'll do.
Lovely. Yeah, I agree. I think it was, considering the last episode, Demons of the Punjab, was a very open set, a very open world. It was nice to have something a little different in this one, and it being a bit closed off, and the lighting was, or lack of lighting, sort of helped to that mystery and that tension and that small space. So that was really lovely to see. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that, really. I think, the cinematography, the way that it looked, the lighting, everything, it achieved what the episode was trying to do. So yeah, I think that's me for that one.
I was very convinced that some of it was actually filmed in a real warehouse. Now, I don't know, it could have been filmed in a real warehouse, but if it wasn't, and it was all sets back in whatever, I can't remember if they do still film at Roadblock. But there was, and I know I've heard that a lot of like the Moffat era, Series 7 on was like the Dalek Asylum, and that was filmed in there. So I'm not sure that those were actually filmed in that place or they actually went to a real warehouse. But if they did, that's a pretty good warehouse. And I do feel like this episode also shows off a lot of the CG effects that have been done by the new in-house graphics company. With a lot of multiplications shots, which I don't think either the Mill or Mill could have probably been able to do back in the old days of the new series. And I just believe that basically, it's a really good CG showcase, and I'm really convinced that maybe it could have been, or if it wasn't, it was a really good warehouse set if it was set there.
Well, for me, when watching it, one scene looked like the Phantom Menace when they were in the Phantom Menace when they're doing lightsabers, that white shot and showing down. But when they're in do you know the scene I'm talking about when all those parcels are going through, like Toy Story 2? Okay, that is not parcels, but you know that how it looked when all the suitcases go down, and then Woody and that try and the characters are trying to find Woody. Do you guys know that?
Yeah, it's what Corey was saying.
But the green screen, it just looks so fake. It really does, and I just puts myself out of it. And when they did the shots, it was like there, and then to the next shot, it just felt like bang, 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 like so straight away, and it was not that good. But like when they were slowing down, you can tell the actors had fun with it. I want to do it personally because it's very fun, and I think that's what you should really do: have fun with the show. It's been loads of close-ups throughout a lot of the series, especially when Jodie's talking to the manager, saying something about having a good manager and people to respect their employees. There was a massive close-up on her face, showing her facial expression, all that. Really good. But with the visual effects and definitely the close-up on the with the robot thing when it comes, like when the guy from Not Going Out. Do you know his name? Because I don't want to keep saying the guy from Not Going Out. But like when the robot just comes in, it looks like that close up of like the Cyberman comes in like out of nowhere, like. But you see the eyes are all blue and shining, like it looks quite creepy. But yeah, the visual effects this is definitely really good. in ways, but like the villain is just sort of made it weak. But how they set up it at the very beginning, it was all colourful light, definitely in the waiting room where all the desks are, and then later on when it gets darker. But the one thing I didn't really think was necessary when they went all outside, like the restaurant place. I mean, they could have did that inside; it wouldn't make a difference. Maybe at the very end made it look nice, but I personally don't think it matters in a factory. But when watching what Adam said, it felt like a real what's it called, Adam? Oh no, yeah,
A real warehouse. And
warehouse. Yeah, I actually felt like it, and I also felt like it was huge, this building, and how they made it look. And I actually believed it was huge, and I bet when they filmed it, it was quite medium sized. So well done to the filmmakers who made that. Maybe bits of it was CGI, but I could tell it was an alien planet. And I was good because in latest episode, definitely with episode, I think I said it before the stream with Elliott, that what's it called? With episode 5 when they're on that spaceship, really did not like it. It felt like a proper set. I know everything is really a set. Like with this episode, you can believe it was real, but that one you can tell they could have just made it one massive set and just changed things around. But this felt real. So well done to the filmmakers who've done that. I think we should talk about conclusion and add things if we want to talk about it because it's like the last minute. And we talk about 2 different type of ratings. Going from Corey up till me. All right, let's go.
So can you please repeat? I'm just reading a lot of Twitter comments from this tonight's episode. Can you please repeat the question?
So basically, just go. It's your conclusion if you want to add
conclusion.
and your 2 different type of ratings for this episode.
Yeah, okay, it's an interesting one to do. So I'll start when I'll end when I slide off.
And if you want to rank all the episodes so far, all 7 episodes, then yeah.
I'll do my best. Yeah, like initially, first thoughts was enjoyed it. Yeah, really enjoyed it. An interesting twist with the villain. Obviously, not really realizing it would be Charlie until the very end. A very sharp changing character. So that was good. The side characters really enjoyed it. Tidy's team worked well together. Yeah, the robots kind of weak only because of the way they were used. So like I said, I was expecting them to be more people, but it was more for Charlie's purpose of setting up his plans. So the way they were used, it worked, but maybe not as more explosive, maybe as I would have anticipated. But yeah, definitely overall. So I'll just give an overall rating. I definitely would give it like an 8. Yeah, I said about an 8. So on your scale of excitement, for me, exciting. I'm not going to say that I was like really excited or more gripped by it. I wasn't like really excited, like really bursting with energy. It's more gripping to try and find out the ending, what's causing it. So I wouldn't say, I'll probably say excitement's about a 6, 7. It's more excited to find the resolution, but not for the actual action. But then the storyline itself, I think it was a decent storyline. I'd say about a 7. I'm going to give it about a 7 on each. Not sure what you guys will say, but I think on the spot I'd say 7 on each. And then to rank them on the spot, so all 7. See, last week, if you was here, I completely forgot the very first episode, so I'll try and make sure I include that in my rankings. So I think Rosa's still, I think definitely Rosa still at the top, which for me then leaves either Demons of the Punjab or Kerblam. I am gonna go out there and say Kerblam 2nd, Demons of the Punjab 3rd. I'm then gonna go and say Arachnid in the UK. Then I'm gonna say the woman that fell to earth, Ghost Monument, Sharanga Conundrum. Have I missed any out? Don't think so.
I'm not too sure.
No, I think you got them all.
I think
Just to
read.
just go again. I mean Rosa.
Wait, you missed out the one again. You keep missing out
Yeah.
after one.
Go again,
No,
Cole.
I mentioned that. It's going Rosa, Kerblam, Demons of the Punjab, Arachnids in the UK, Woman Who Fell to Earth, Ghost Monument, the Sharanga Conundrum. That is my
Cool.
final ranking.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep.
Cool. I will say then final thoughts about this episode. Yeah, it was a nice episode. I think it's definitely the best futuristic / space episode so far this season. So that was good. That it's
Actually, I think it is
with
actually
history.
the last, because tomorrow, no, not tomorrow. Next week is historical.
Next week's history, yeah.
And then the last two may be present day. I think definitely
Present day.
I don't know.
Yeah.
By looking at the photos, it looks more future. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. Cool. Yes. Oh, well, if it's the last, if it's not, it's definitely the best so far. So, yeah, I think it was nicely paced as well. I thought that really helped it. I was a bit annoyed that there weren't enough hints as to Charlie twisting to becoming the villain, but at the same time, I'm glad that it wasn't so much that you kind of guessed it halfway through the episode and there weren't any surprises. So that was cool. Yeah, a bit of dodgy CGI with that Toy Story 2 looking part, but I can get over that. I mean, it's a TV budget at the end of the day, so that's fine by me. I think this was definitely an episode for side characters over the main group, which is a bit of a shame, but at the same time, you know, we have to let others play sometimes as well. So that was cool. I'm happy with that. In terms of ratings, I think excitement episode, it definitely kept me very hooked and I wanted to know what the mystery was. So I think my excitement rating is around a 7 and 8. So I'll go for a 7.5. Overall rating of this episode, I think I would stick it probably about a 6.8 to be very exact there. And then ranking it with alongside all the other episodes, I think I would go Rosa easily is number 1 so far this series. For me, Demons of the Punjab comes second. After that, I would say The Woman Who Fell to Earth, episode 1, followed by this episode, Kerblam, then Arachnids, then Ghost Monument, and finishing with the Suranga Conundrum at the end. I don't think I'm ever going to get that right. But yeah, cool. So that is me. Thank you very much.
Okay, this episode was you know, it was fun, it was something different, even though it did seem a little bit similar to other concepts, but it was very enjoyable. The villain was a bit weak, but especially after a lot of the villains not really being either weak or just not really being there, it did feel a little bit just like at least they were better than some of the villains in the later Moffat era. What else? I do like the aspect of it being, you know, worker side, instead of just, you know, having to see this from the customer side. I just feel like that was pretty good because then it was, you know, it didn't go by conventions and that, and yeah, so. Like an overall rating, it would be an 8 out of excitement. I'm not sure what we were in. What's our ratings on excitement? Sorry.
So your excitement rating is, you know, were you excited?
How did you feel when watching it?
Okay.
Yeah. Were you excited? Were you gripped?
Even if an episode's really bad, but you still enjoy it, like the room, yeah, it's really bad, but you really have fun watching it.
Yeah.
All right.
So I felt I was a bit gripped on it. Yeah, I missed a bit and I'm probably gonna go watch it again. So that's how gripped I was. Like last week, so I watched it again only because I was confused, and then the week before that with the Suranga Conundrum, I didn't really watch it again because I just felt like my overall thoughts were just kind of gone for the first viewing of that. So if we're gonna go by our ratings, I'm gonna say it would be The Woman Who Fell to Earth, Rosa, this episode, Demons of the Punjab, Arachnids in the no, the Saranga Conundrum, and then Arachnids in the UK.
Okay, wait 1 sec. Corey sent a photo on. Good. Oh, Corey, can you explain what you just sent me?
Somebody on Twitter put a picture from Toy Story 2, that conveyor belt scene, and put on there Kerblam 2018.
Did someone just watch our stream? Or
No, I was just
That's
scrolling
it.
down.
Everyone got the same visual rep.
yes.
I thought it
And
was
also I
appropriate.
said Phantom Menace as well. Whoa. That is mad. Well, I think we still get the first credit. I think we have that. But for my opinion on it, overall, let's talk about overall rating. This is going to change when I'm doing my overall series review on it. But I do with series 9, 10, and I will do for series 11 after episode 10. I'm not going to count the New Year special. But yeah, I'm going to rate this one as 7. I wouldn't say higher, but there are problems with it, like, you know, the villain. But you total, like, and then that fake Toy Story vision, and then something like the Charlie will start off really good, and then our random, like, what? And also, guys, tell me in the comment section what you think about rate it. But like, for an excitement level, I was gripped into the story. At the very beginning, I did have I didn't really go on my phone with it. I went straight in it. I wanted more. I think the very end, when I think it was just when Charlie just came out of nowhere, sort of just like didn't hook me off. I was kind of out of it, and then when it got back to the very end, when all back in that grassy place, very posh it looked. I was like, yo, all right. But you know, is there anyone else who the last frame, the last shot, when everybody just looks at the box? I think they all look at the camera, but I mean, all their faces are out of focus. Do you think that's all weird, or do you think that's like, okay, that's all right?
I completely didn't even notice it.
I noticed it. I was like,
focused on the box.
It was like Graham's like, but I mean, that's sort of why they put him out of focus and then put the box more in focus, you know, just to guess focus on that. But everything else, my excitement level, I'm gonna give it for 9. For 9. I know we're not gonna do that excitement thing for the next time, but I had so much fun watching it. The thing is, we only can compare this to episode 5 as a future episode, and this is miles better than that episode. Really can't wait to watch this episode again when I have my second watch of it. I'm gonna have my second watch when the whole series is done. So for my overall, but I had so much fun with it. The characters are good. Ryan, I do agree with Elliott why he's not been the best. He's that type of guy who's like, when he talks about work, he's just like kind of stale. Maybe how he performed it. Maybe you guys can carry on like talking if you want to talk about this subject as well. But like, he was like, oh, this reminds me of work, and Joey's like, brilliant. Like, I think it's a bit stale. Like, if you compare it to the others, like, they all feel like characters, and he just feels like the character's just trying to go on the story along. But yeah, Graham always really good. Charlie, meh, he started off right, but like, I like that scene when they both what's her name again? Ellie, I'm gonna keep forgetting her name. Kira. When Kira and Thingy, like, was she the one with the eggs? I think it was eggs. But he just like meant to give it back to her, but he was just holding it and just left. I was like, all right. But I liked how Graham used that to find the map. So quite clever on that. But overall, this one was really good, and I'm looking forward to next. Well, actually, no. Next week, again, with the trailers they do, it's not much. I think you always agree with that, guys. They don't put too much in, but I'm not that looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've got to agree that the next time trailers have really taken a hit this year, because obviously they're trying to make it shorter with the shorter, the shorter closing credits length, along with the opening titles length, because I think that's been run down from 40 seconds to 30 seconds. And I do believe that the next time trailers really have taken a hit in that kind of sort of sense.
And
Yeah, I agree there. It's definitely just to give you, it gives you even less than a flavour, really, doesn't it? Which is a bit of a shame. But who knows? Hopefully, it's given enough so that we know what it's about. And I think someone's just put in the
No,
comment.
I can't even say that, mate. I can't even say.
Well, I mean, it's King James and witches. If you know your history, you'll know exactly what we're in for, which is quite nice.
I was just going to say, King James and witches does feel a bit similar to Shakespeare Code, which is all about witches. So I'm not really sure that basically we could have another Planet View to Kerblam situation here with that.
Yeah, I guess there's only a certain amount of stories that can be told.
I can understand Chris doesn't want. Oh yeah, I forgot to say about the writer. I think I should have said this in the storyteller. I like the writer in it. The other actors, the other writers, except for Chris, makes really good. Did Rosa written by Chris, right? Or someone else?
Rosa was co-written by Chris and Mallory Blackman.
Well, with Chris's own ones, I think he did episode 1 and 2, and maybe 4.
Yeah, that's right.
He did episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I believe 5 was supposed to be written by somebody else called Ted Price. You know how in the credits it has the Bating created by Ted Price. He was supposed to write that one, and then he had to leave, so that one's technically really another co-write, but unfortunately the original writer wrote nothing for that.
Well, I think we should just quickly get everything done, but oh yeah, I forgot to rank all the other episodes quickly. So definitely the weakest is, I keep forgetting all these titles, but episode 5, the one that with spaceship with that weird creature thing, really just terrible. But again, I will talk about that in my overview. Next be 2. I'm confident to say 2. When I first watching it was good, but I think except for the TARDIS scenes and the side characters, there's not really that much to it. Begin. I'll talk about that in my overview. Next up is, this is difficult. I think I'm going to say 1. 1, then it's really hard remembering. There's 3 brilliant ones. This is hard because they're really good ones to have. We have 3, we got 4, and we got 6 and 7. I'm gonna say 4. No, I'm gonna say last week's, and then the Spider one, then this one, then Rosa. Rosa's just very high, except for that rise up music at the very end. It would have been really good without that, and then yeah. But I hope you enjoyed watching this. Guys, if you want to briefly talk about your channels, I have actually put your links in description for the first time ever. I think I should put that on the other episodes, previous and after. Starting with Corey, I think you're making a new account, so you don't need to worry. But if you want to talk about your channel briefly,
yeah, I will be at some point making a new channel. Probably, yeah, it's definitely going to be after Series 11 finishes. It's in the description. It is Doctor Who reactions. If you do want to go and watch it, feel free. Mostly reacting to most of Doctor Who episodes, a bit of the news, but most of my newest things will be on a new channel once Series 11 does finish.
And also with you told me yesterday you have every single classic episode.
That is correct. I bought them all. I did buy them all. Spent a lot of money, but I've got them all.
Damn it! You should make a video on that. That'd be very interesting.
Can do.
I told you before this episode. Is this an episode that you want to do a weekly rant on, or do you think it's all calm? Talk about yourself, because there's a video that everybody in our group does not agree with.
For me, I don't need to do a rant about this episode. Yeah, so my channel, The Weekly Rant, is a review and rant channel focusing around film and TV, which is why George found me as I was posting some Doctor Who stuff. I've been talking this new season of Doctor Who, and I've been talking the new era of Doctor Who, so everything from Christopher Eccleston up to current. So if you want to check that out, do.
And with your Rosa one, that was the first one I watched, and you don't just go with the review; you go with the deeper meaning of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think with that specific Rosa episode, and for me being me, because I'm quite a politically charged person anyway, so I definitely wanted to do something different for that. And it was the same with the Ghost Monument as well, in which I talked about the TARDIS rather than talking about the episode itself. So I do try to look at a certain aspect of the episode and get a bit deeper with that, which was really nice. But as I was going to say, I do talk about other stuff as well. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I talk about Marvel stuff. I talk about Harry Potter. So if you like that kind of stuff as well, guys, do come over to the channel. Videos coming out this week. I've got a video about the Netflix series Big Mouth. And
I love that. Sorry.
Yeah, so do look out for that. And I'm also going to be talking about Tony Stark within the MCU as well.
You said that yesterday.
Yeah. It was just a plan for me yesterday, but I ended up filming it today. So there is content ready to be edited.
I just want to warn you guys, some of this stuff does get people triggered, like his video called "Why is Amazing Spider-Man 2 secretly brilliant?"
6 reasons. 6 reasons as to why.
I'm sorry. It's not good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I make content that gets people talking. So otherwise, there's no point making it.
And as everyone knows, I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. But now for John, talk about your stuff.
Well, at the moment, there's been having a bit of conflicts with another person. George also knows, so there really hasn't been anything on at the moment. And I'm in production with another person.
Anyone who knows that person, don't give any of that, both of them hate or anything.
Oh no. It's not really both. It's really 3 people. It's really me, somebody else, and the other person in general. But unfortunately, an argument has happened basically where I'm not going to really discuss as much. I'm trying not to, and I probably am. But an argument happened. Basically, I got turned away, and something else. So we're going to try and replace.
Coming up in your channel.
A brand new series with a brand new doctor played by Blaze Wilson, who's supposed to be in this one, but never mind. She's an amazing actress. We asked her about, I think, a week ago, and she said yes, and she really wants to do this, and so we're getting ready. Me and RJ. Why did I say that like Bruce Willis does? RJ. Sorry, I was just picking them up my head. Sorry.
Both of them are watching. But you can.
H Productions / Robert Horsnell Productions. So we're going to be working together on that, and we're going to try and get that done for January, before all the Article 13 stuff on YouTube. I don't know. I don't think we should talk about that because that's not going to really happen. But
I think. But anyways, make sure to watch these guys. I think next week we'll have the usual Corey be on, Elliott, maybe Matthew. Matthew was going to be on here, but last minute he told me he couldn't. Well, up before the episode was released. But make sure to watch those guys and make sure to watch mine. I was not expecting to do any more reviews past episode 1. So here we are. But make sure to like it anyways. Comment after the stream who's late, who might actually watch the whole thing. And I'm going to watch I'm a Celebrity I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here. Because that's a show. And John Barrowman's in it. And as John...
And he doesn't mind eating bums, willies, or I can't remember what the last one was.
Very nice.
Have you guys seen the Doctor Who poop version of that, like, where they basically edited it into episode 1, where it's like, Grace says to Ryan, or look at Granddad, and it's just John Barrowman there saying, I don't mind eating bums, willies.
Seen that.
It's just so funny. I sent it off to a couple of other people. I might send it to George after this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, just I think that last few minutes we ramble on, but I think I do that every week, talking about something about their channels. But hopefully, after Series 11, I might go back to my usual podcasters and then talk about my Series 2 trailer. I was going to film today, but I'm going to do it in a couple of days' time. Series 2 is still happening. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to all of them. And I'll see you later. Go Tigers!